Hello everyone, my name is Anshul and I'm a corporate trainee at Medrit Software Training Solutions. So today we are going to discuss about the project, and the project is based on the dataset which is available on Kaggle, and the name of the dataset is Uber Drives dataset. So you can download the data from the Kaggle and then you can work on it. It's a really good dataset for data analysis purposes because it has good columns, including the date and time columns. So let's move forward. So firstly, what we're going to do, we're going to import the useful libraries. So the useful libraries I have imported over here, all the libraries at the top. Then we're going to move to the exploring datasets with pandas. So first and foremost, we will be importing the dataset from the local directory, and then we see the first five rows of the dataset with the head function uber.head. So as you can see, it has a start date column which includes the start date and time of the journey, and the end date column which includes the end date and the time of the journey. It also includes the category, is the categories of two types, business and personal, and that it also includes the start location and the stop location where the journey ends, and the distance of the journey, and then the purpose of the journey. So moving forward, as you can see, the columns are not that clean, and you need to you will face difficulties in access the columns. So what I did, actually I did change the column names in small letters so that I can slice them easily. So you can do it with uber.columns, and you can pass the list of the columns according to your preferences. Then, so first and foremost, what we actually do with the dataset, we actually want to clean the dataset, and we want to know what are the percentages, or basically what are the number of null values in the dataset. So you can create using you can create a function like this, and this function will work on each and every data set, and it will give out the output. If you run the function of the data set, it will give out the data frame which includes the column as the column names as the index, and then includes two columns, null values and null percent. So null values tells you the number of null values present in a particular column and the percentage. So as you can see, the purpose column, which includes the purpose of the journey, has 503 null values, and null percent is 43%. And then moving forward, extracting date and time features. So what exactly date and time features are? As you can see, the column includes start date and end date. So when you import the data set, the start date and end date column, the data types of the object are as of data type object. So we need to change them to date time object so that pandas can see them as a datetime object. So for that, we need to convert the datetime start date and end date column to the data type. So firstly, I remove the row which contains start date equals to totals, because date cannot be a string. So I remove the date column so that I can convert them easily. And then I created a loop for extracting the date only, because the date time column includes time and date as well. So I wanted to have two features extra which includes only date and time. So with this loop, you can actually get the date and start date and end date explicitly from the two columns. And then I create a parser function, lambda function, and a datetime module dot strip time. And basically, your datetime module has a various formats for dates. So the format for the particular data set is month, day, and year, then hour and minute. So I need to mention the format according to the input of the date and time in the data set. And then I run a loop for dates in start date and date column. Uber.dates is equals to uber dots. I use the apply function to apply my particular lambda function on the two columns. Then we create separate columns for start date and end date. And then, as I mentioned, we need to convert them into the datetime feature. So how do you convert them actually? You use the function pandas pd dot to underscore datetime, and then uber start underscore date according to the name of the column which we want to convert to the date time. And then as you can see, the data types of the objects are date time 64. NS means nanoseconds. So now with the help of date and time features, you can actually extract various features from the dates column. And what are those features? You can actually calculate the duration that dried in seconds, and you can extract day, you can extract month, you can extract week. So let's see how we actually can do it. So in order to get the duration, as you can see, there is a start date and end date column. So if you subtract end date minus start date, you will get the time in seconds. You will get the time, but we have to convert the time into minutes. So when you subtract the end date and start date column, and then with the first line I get the duration, and then I in the second line I converted the duration, I get the total seconds. If you get the duration, dt only works with the date time feature. So you need to have your date time you need to have your date time column into the date time data type. So you convert you get the duration in minutes, uber dot duration dot dt dot total underscore seconds. With this method, you get the seconds of the duration and then divide by 60, and therefore you get the duration in minutes. And then how do you actually extract the day name? With the help of the day underscore name function, which is preceded by dt and then the column name. So uber dot start dot date dt dot day underscore name. This way you can extract the day name from the datetime column. And then from the start date, you can actually get the month of the day. So how do you actually get the month of the day? There is a format for extracting the various features. So for extracting the month name, you have to do column. You have to select the column, slice the column, and then dot dt, then followed by strip time function. And the strip time function accepts an argument of the feature you want to extract. So I want to extract the month name. So for that, I need to extract the percentage B. And then for week, you have a week attribute. So column name dot dt dot week. So if you see again, I print the data types, and then you can see I have another features: duration, which is float, day name is object, month, which is object, and week is integer. So now how moving forward, so you can create pivot tables. Pivot tables is basically a more useful than group by. It works same as in the ways of group by, but I prefer pivot table because pivot tables are easy to work with. So as you can see, pivot table is used to group variables, and by default it returns the mean value for the numerical columns. The following pivot table shows a data frame with the index as purpose with mean value of duration and miles in columns. So how do you actually create a pivot table? You call the data frame, and then on the data frame you call pivot underscore table. Then it accepts first argument as index. Index is that column on which you want to group by your data. So I want to group by my data on the basis of purpose, and the values are those columns which you want to aggregate, and these values are numerical columns. And then with the sort underscore values function, I sort the data with the help by duration, and I sort the data as in descending order by mentioning ascending equals to false. And when you print the data, as you can see, what pivot table actually does, the column on which you group by, that is the purpose, it create the purpose column becomes the index of that particular data frame. Pivot underscore table returns a data frame, and then I have duration, and then I have miles. So duration is the mean duration. By default, pivot table calculates the mean values of your particular numerical columns, and then we have the mean miles, that is the mean distance. And then I again create a pivot table. So basically you can actually, if you want another statistical measure like median or mode for categorical variables, and mean and median, or mean and median for numerical variables, or you can also use count for categorical variables, or basically if you want to just find the number of observations. So you can use uber dot pivot underscore table. I group by on the base of purpose, and I want the values, that is I want to aggregate miles and duration, and the statistical measure I want, you can pass the statistical measure in the parameter argfunc, and the arguments you pass is mean and count, but in a list. You can also pass as many as statistical measure you want. You can also pass standard deviation, you can also pass variance, So you see, this kind of data frame you will get after running the above code. So, as you can see, there is only one observation for commute purpose and it has a very high mean value. Hence, we consider it as an outlier and plot two graphs. So basically, before going to the plotting and data visualization, as you can see, commute has the highest mean duration, that is 185 minutes, and miles 180 minutes. This is because commute has only one observation, and you can look it at as an outlier because it contains one and only one observation. So the mean value is that particular observation. So now moving forward with the data visualization part, I have used Matplotlib and Seaborn for the data visualization purposes. So plotting maps with Matplotlib and Seaborn, the graph depicts the number of purposes for the rides according to duration and miles. So as you can see, first you need, set the context. You can set context, various context in Seaborn by mentioning sns.set underscore context. I have used paper, you can use notebook, you can use stock, you can use poster. If you see the documentation of C1, you can identify the various context you can set, and then I call figure comma axis equals plt dot subplots because I want to create subplots. I want to create a subplots of 2 comma 1, that is 2 rows in one column, that is horizontally, and then the fixed size is 10 comma 10. So now if you look above, I have created one data frame, that is purpose underscore uber, with the help of pivot table, and I'm plotting that particular column. So we are plotting two columns with commute observation, without commute observation, to identify what a single value with a very high mean can actually do with the visualization. It deflects the visualization. So as you can see, so purpose.uber, I have used the data frame dot plot method, and then kind is equals to bar h. Bar stands for bar horizontal, and I want this to my first graph. So ax equals to ax0. Then I calculated purpose underscore uber one dot plot underscore bar h. Why I've used one? Because the first value is commute and I don't want the commute value. As I mentioned, I want to plot two graphs, one with including the commute value and one without the commute value, so that we can see what actually the commute value is doing. So then I set the axis labels and the y labels, and then we do plt dot show, and as you can see, this particular graph is for the value included with commute. So as you can see, the commute value has a very high mean duration and miles, the duration being in blue and the miles in orange. So if you see the other graph which does not include commute, see, you can actually figure out how the values and the purpose values for mean duration miles actually changing. Because of the commute value, it's kind of a skewed graph, but without commute value you can see how actually the various purposes are getting affected with the help of by mean duration miles. So what is the conclusion? The bar graph represents a brief view for the purpose and commute being an outlier, as it has only one observation for a high duration. The most common purpose for ride is customer visit, followed by meeting based upon the features like duration miles. So based upon duration miles, as you can see, the most common purpose is customer visit and meeting, and mind it, it is based on duration miles. So moving forward, now we plot the count plot from the Seaborn library. So what does count plot do actually? It basically count the number of observations and plots a graph with a bar graph. So I have used categorical plot, which is cat plot. Earlier the name was factor plot. Now it has changed to categorical plot. First, you need to mention the categorical name, because suppose I want to count the number of days, and I want to know the maximum number of days for which the observation is there in the data set. So you pass y is equals to day name and data is equals to uber, and then kind is equals to count because I want to count the number of observations. And then I label the axis and the y-axis, and then I give the title to my graph. So as you can see, here's the count plot according to the day name. And what is the conclusion? The day on which the maximum rights occur were taken is Friday. So the maximum rights were on Friday. Now, in the same way, we can create scatter plot. Plt.figure. As you can see, I've set the figure size to be 8,6 width over length. The scatter plot shows the relation between miles and duration. So how you can actually create scatter plot? You can actually call sns.scatter, but you can use a more advanced and more flexible function, which is relation plot. That stands for RELPLOT, the relation plot. You need to mention two columns, two numerical columns, miles and duration, and then you mention the data, and then you need to pass an argument kind equals to scatter and hue. What is hue exactly? Hue is the argument if you pass which you can pass a numerical column as well, but hue colors the scatter plot according to the column you pass on. So the best strategy for coloring a scatter plot is on the basis of your categorical variables. So I want my scatter plot to show miles and duration according to the day name, and then I pass the x-axis limit, and you can disclose it. You need not mention plt.x limit; it will work fine otherwise. And then I label the axis and the title of the graph. So as you can see, I have the day name on the right side, the legend on the right side, including day names, and the scatter plots looks like this. So what is the conclusion? Most of the rides are in between 0 to 25 miles. As you can see, the graph is really dense from 0 to 25. And after that, the graph is not that dense. So we can conclude that the most of the rides are between 0 to 25 miles. That is not that longer rides. Now, again, the count plot shows for frequency for purpose category. So simple SNS dot count plot, y equals to purpose and data is equals to Uber. So PLT dot title, travel purposes, label the axis. You always label the axis. Make sure whenever you do the data visualization, you always label the axis. You never forget to label the axis. It is a really good practice, because when you show your visualization to a person who is not that technical, it will be easy for them to understand what you are actually showing through the graph. So as you can see, the most common travel purposes is meeting, but the count clause only shows the number of observation. So the maximum number of observation is for the meeting purpose. But above we have seen that the most common purpose according to duration mile is customer visit. So meeting is the most frequent. Please mind the word which I'm using. The most frequent purpose in that data set, the most occurred. Now again, I plotted the count variable, but this time I use the hue is equals to category. So basically, I want to know the purpose on the basis of the category. The category, we have two categories: the business and the personal categories. So as you can see, there is not much travel by personal category. There is only three observations: charity, commute, and moving, and which are very less. As I mentioned, commute has only one observation. So now conclusion: the above figure shows the most preferable purpose by category is meal and entertain. As you can see, the meal and entertain and meeting the most. Now, I want to see the number of observations according to the category feature. So cat plot category, because I want to count the categories. I need to mention the data is equals to Uber, which is the date, which is the name of my data frame, and then you mention the kind, the count, and then you access the label the access. Sorry, as always, and then you can see that most of the observations are for the business category, and that is what the conclusion is. Now, we plot the month feature with the categorical plot in the same way, and as you can see, the number of rides for every month, and the maximum rides were in December, then you have in August, and as you can see, it shows the maximum number of observations for particular months. So the maximum number of rides were taken in the month of December. Now I have created a bar plot on the basis of duration of rides for every month, but this time according to the business and personal category. So this way you can create the bar plot with the help of sns.bar plot. You need to mention the y and the x axis and then the data. And as you can see, you get the right duration for every month. And what are these black bars showing? Black bars are basically showing the standard deviation of the rights of the duration for that particular month. So as you can see, September has a September writes, the duration for the September writes has a very high standard deviation. And whereas you can see November has a very low standard deviation according to the duration. So basically we want a data which is less varying according to the mean of the data. We actually don't want a data which is highly varying. That is not a good data. So the duration for writes in September highly varies around the mean duration. And then exploring the distribution for the month feature according to the duration. Now again we create our with data visualization, but this time month feature according to the duration. So here I have introduced a new graph which is called box plots. So box plots are really useful when you want to visualize your categorical variables on the basis of your numerical variable. Basically box plot shows how your categorical variables are changing significantly, if they are changing significantly on the basis of a numerical column. So the code is really easy, and then obviously label the axis. Then as you can see the distribution by month. So when you know, how do you know actually if the data is actually varying significantly? So if the box plots are overlapping with each other, that simply means that is the easiest way to see that your data is not varying significantly. But if the box plots are up and down and they are not overlapping with each other, then it is varying significantly. The data is varying significantly. But as you have guessed it here, the data is not varying significantly according to the months. So that is what the conclusion is. The data does not show any significant variation in the context of duration except the month of September. As we have seen earlier, that September has a high variation according to the writes. There are many outliers, and these black dots, what these black dots are depicting, these black dots are depicting the outliers for particular months according to the duration. So what are outliers? Basically, outliers are those values which highly affects your data and which are totally different from rest of the inputs. For example, if you have a data which contains the height of the person, or say weight of the person. So the weight of a person is 50 kg, second person is 75, then 65, and most of your data observation is within 50 and 90. And then you have one observation with the weight of 150 kg, or say 200 kgs. So that 200 kg observation is your outlier because it is varying very much as per the rest of your observations. So this is your distribution by month. And then the last, as we're going to see in this project, is the exploring the distribution for the day. Now earlier we have seen the distribution by month. Now we see the distribution by day with the help of box plots. So as you can see, the box plots again are not varying much. They are overlapping, and there are so many outliers. So the data is not again varying significantly. The data does not show any significant variation in the writes in the context of duration, and there are many outliers. That is, some writes are exceptionally for longer duration. So this is the overdrives dataset, and this is the data analysis report you can create with the help of pandas, numpy, seaborn, matplotlib, and I have used Jupyter Notebook. You can use your own platform, and you can use your own idle. If you want, you can use spider, whatever suits you. So this is it for today, and you can always contact Madrid Software Training Solutions for courses like data analytics, business analytics, data science with Python and machine learning, and artificial intelligence. Thank you so much, and have a good day.